guys, Bailey here from Carp Dreams, and I'm sorry about the noise, but we're right next to a really busy road. Today we're at a train station in Hertford, going to get the train and hop down to London. We're going to be meeting a very, very special guest, and I'm so excited to go give him an interview today. We're going to be interviewing Ali Hamidi, who's doing a voiceover for his new TV series, which is called Monster Carp. I can't wait to see a couple of sneak previews. Hope you guys are going to enjoy this video. Please share this with everyone and enjoy. Hey guys, we're finally here. Ali Hamidi's just inside there. I can't wait to meet him. I'm a little bit nervous, but after practicing my questions, I hope it'll be alright. Thank you guys for sending in the questions, and I hope you enjoy this video. I'll see you when we've got Ali Hamidi standing next to us. Hey guys, so we're now joined by Ali Hamidi. Thank you for having us today.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good.
So I would introduce you and tell them your job, but you do so many things now that I'm not too sure which you do. You're author, TV presenter. Can you just say a bit, what do you prefer to be known as?
Well, primarily I'm neither of them really, because I'm head of European marketing for Corda. I sort of ended up stumbling into the presenting side of it. My background before Corda, I did TV. I worked in TV industry and in marketing. Then when Corda needed a marketing person, I was already writing in the angling media, and I was qualified as a marketeer in television. So I applied for the job, and fortunately I had a pretty good CV by then, which is, for that type of role, it's quite rare to get someone into fishing with a specific marketing background who also fished a lot. So yeah, that's how it started, and then I got Corda, the TV shows on Sky. And you'll know from the beginning, you'll see the old ones on Discovery, Danny was the main presenter. He'd always done everything for Corda, but as the company grew, he wanted more people to get involved, and someone who used to work for us, Adam Penning, started doing a bit of presenting. And then I think what happened, Dan did a show, an old thinking tackle, and the weather went horrible, really hot. He didn't catch anything, and back then we always wanted to catch on the show, so we had to do a reshoot. Dan, I think, was going on holiday, and he said, "Look, will you present one on your own?" I did it with Ian Russell. Never looked back from then, really. Presented my own one, and we then started doing sort of 3 each, and then Dan started doing less and less so he could go fishing more. That's why he set up Corda. And it just took off from there. So it's from the outside looking in, it might look like I go fishing all the time. Really?
I can understand. But you're saying that you don't get to fish all the time. How much time would you say you'd? Well,
the last time I went fishing for myself was March 2014.
Wow.
So the last time I went without cameras, and don't get me wrong, there are times I could go, but because your work's all around fishing and you're going away travelling as well sometimes, you want a bit of a break,
of course.
And
see your family and whatever.
Yeah, just do normal stuff. And the chance to actually go fishing on my own, like, oh look, I've got a spare week or a spare weekday, they're just gone now, because since we started the big fish off and now Monster Carp, you've seen here, you're with me today doing voiceover. Well, you know, and then the next day I'll be in the Corder office. I've got a really big team across Europe of staff that, you know, need your time, and you're trying to develop them, work with them on projects, lots of things really. Gives almost no time. If I go away, if I go fishing if I go away and have a day off, I'll come back to a stack of work. So it's all about managing it.
So what takes up the most time, doing this sort of voiceover or working with Corder and the marketing?
Well, not particularly the voiceover. The making the TV shows is just a massive process. You've got to film them, so you have the filming bit, which is like can take a few days or a week. You know, Big Fish Off we film in like 4 or 5 days. Monster Carps are normally 8 to 14 days. But then the fun begins. Then they're edited. They then have to be viewed, re-edited, viewed, re-edited, viewed. Then you have, then you come into this is the final stage of the post now, where I read the voiceover in for real. Before that, I would have done the whole thing before, but in the Corder office, it was called like a dummy voiceover, like a guide track. It's like a 6 to 8 week process per show.
Oh wow! So
multiply that by 9 shows, 5 big fish offs, 4 monster carps.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've got all the other stuff of my work.
And then marketing with Corder and everything as well.
Which is more than a full-time job in itself. I calculate, we laugh, I probably do 4 or 5 full-time jobs. So you got like running a marketing thing, being a TV presenter, being an executive producer, planning all the shoots, I do all of that. Booking all the celebrities, I do all of that. No one ever sees that side of it.
No, but
they just think I'm down a lake fishing.
Yeah, and then some of the people at home, they're like, "Oh, I've got school tomorrow. I've got jobs to do."
Yeah.
Think about you. You've got 4 or 5 jobs to do.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure a lot of people go, "Oh, you've got a dream job. I'd love to do it," but you've got to be capable of doing the things I'm doing. It's quite a skilled role. That's varied as well. So you've got the marketing side of it, the television side of it. The hardest part actually for me that I find is the HR side, actually leading and managing people, because when you go up and down and you've got a lot of emotions to deal with and pressures, it's trying to stay level-headed when one of your staff cocks up or doesn't do the job properly, and you're thinking, I'm working like 19 hours a day.
Why do you have the disrespect to mess up?
Well, not disrespect. There's none of that. We have a wonderful team of guys. We all get on like a band of brothers, really. But sometimes when you tell them once and they then make a mistake, and you tell them again and they do it again, and you're like, if I was told 3 times I did the same thing, I'd be right ashamed of myself. So it's learning how to deal with that, and developing it, and you know, being better for it, you know, the team evolving as one. They never try to have like, I'm the boss, they work for me. Don't like that. I like it to be like a bit like a team, like a people don't always respond to it, but I always try to lead like I love playing football, grew up around a football atmosphere, so try to have like the changing room thing, or on the pitch you'd shout at each other when you come off it, you're all mates, but it doesn't work for everyone that. So it's learning how to have different styles with different
how
staff.
To make everyone happy and all that.
Yeah, different people respond to different ways, really. Some respond to an arm over the shoulder, quiet word. Others need a rocket.
So you've got a lot going on. We've established that. But how did you find time to write your really good book, The Carp is High?
How did I find time to do that? Well, it took me a lot longer. The first book, Carp Fishing Masterclass, I'd sort of built a lot of the text up over a few years. When I was writing articles, I was able to pull bits out of them and piece it together. This one I wrote from scratch. It took me about 2.5 years to write, because I was doing it, but bless my wife for like putting up with it. Some nights I would like have an evening, I'd blurt out a chapter or half a chapter. But luckily when you get going and you're writing from memory, it's not like writing an old school essay or university thing when you're constantly looking for references and examples. You are the reference, you are the example, so it's a lot easier actually. And once you get going, writing about the underwater films, I managed to, in like 3 evenings, I wrote, you know, got 14,000 odd words.
Yeah, so
once you get going, it's quick.
Quite easy. Yeah. But in the book, you mention many names that have influenced you to start carp fishing and fishing altogether. Who was the main name for you?
I think it was a variety. You know, when I was growing up, I used to read the magazines and look up to these people. Not so much once you get started, but But yeah, I mean, there was a variety. You know, I sort of growing up around Colchester. Someone I work with now, Damien, I used to look up to him, even though when I used to go and see him down Lakesy Belly, he used to talk to me. Miserable sod he was, but I tell him that now, remind him of it all the time. Yeah, just there was a lot of people. I can't really pick out one. I mean, even people like Zenon Boyko, I used to read all his stuff. Again, someone who lived in Colchester, they were all on on such a pedestal. But when you start fishing and you get to that level, you think, well, they're just fishermen, you know, and you sort of break it.
Yeah.
You don't. When you're growing up, though, you're like, oh my God, these people are like gods. But when you grow up, you just take everyone as a person, really.
Yeah, and in the Big Fish Off, you and Dean compete all the time, and you sometimes fall out. But then at the end of each episode, you come back together and whatnot.
Yeah.
But in the last episode of Series 2, where you're in Thailand, it was the greatest piece of angling TV I've seen, because it was all competing for the last 2 series. But in that one episode, I could see you with your contestant and Dean with his, just coming together with that arapaima.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what fishing's all about. But then looking back at it now, how are you going to top that, Ali? That was... Yeah. It's quite high up there.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I said it at the time when it happened. That it felt to me like the craziest television moment I'd ever had involved, because you got to remember before that it was really rubbish for the arapaima. They just weren't feeding, and sometimes you get species just not having it. Also, we were down in the bay, so we kind of had to share the go, because whoever ended up furthest down the bay would have had the best chance.
Yeah.
It was really unfair if we'd sort of gone left or right. We'd had it before in the series on the surface one, where we had the fight where he ended up in a swim that it wasn't even a challenge. Like, he's got all the carp, and I mean, I might as well. Sorry, I might as well have ended up on the. I'll get that for you. I might as well have ended up in the car park fishing.
Yeah.
When that fish, when we finally got that bite off that arapaima, I thought, if we hook one here, it's going to be mental. Then when we hooked one, I was like, oh shit.
It's kicked off.
And I hadn't really planned what's going to happen, because I thought it would go out into the lake, but it didn't. It swam in.
Went into...
And it came under an aerator, and then all hell broke loose. And I remember the bit where we swam underwater, after it had sort of half tangled us up and nearly took us off our feet. I looked up, I come up to the surface, and I saw Nick, the director's face, and he looked like he'd seen a ghost. Because it had gone from nothing to total bedlam in about 5 seconds. And he's like... And I knew then we were about to make... And do you know what? Inside I thought, you know what? If this fish comes off, it's not the end of the world, because the whole start of it was incredible telly. And I was willing to accept that this fish is probably going to come off. And then to get it in...
that was crazy, honestly.
Yeah. And the response on Twitter and Facebook was, I've never ever seen anything like it. It was crazy.
But what's next now? Are you going to carry on with the celebrity theme, or are you going to go for youngsters like me? I'll be on Team Ali all the way.
Yeah, no, sadly, at this stage, we need to carry on with the celebrity theme, because outside of fish, a lot of anglers are like, take on normal people. But the problem is, you can't just pick random people, because they might come, freeze in front of the camera. They might be shit, basically, and not give you good telly. The thing is, when you're getting celebrities, they understand making television.
And they understand working with a camera and stuff like that.
Yeah, they understand that, and you kind of know a bit about the personalities. You know what you're going to get. If you were to go down the normal public route, you would have to do a period of auditions, interviews, like they do for Big Brother.
Yeah.
You know, where they hand-pick people after months and months of assessing them. We ain't got time to do that.
No, of course don't.
It's like, I'm already at critical mass. One day, without a doubt, we will do something like that. But at this stage, trying to get fishing up in the rankings of the world for entertainment, we need to go down
get those celebrities in there.
Yeah, or work with people that do telly. Yeah, I think the public would love to come fishing and be on it, but I think secretly they're being a bit selfish, because
of course.
they want the chance to do what the celebs are doing, but it's not the best thing for the sport at this stage, because we're just then preaching to the converted.
And also it's publicising it, as you said, and it's getting it widely spread. Yeah,
exactly. It's taking it outside the box, getting people to see it that wouldn't normally watch it, and involving people might not normally fish, that would then go, wow, this is a really good sport actually. I thought it'd be rubbish, but it's quite fun. If you take fishermen all the time, it's just they're going to say it's fun.
Same, yeah. We're going to move on slightly now.
Okay.
I'm going to pull out a wand now,
Okay.
and I've got one wish.
Yeah.
I've got two options, and I can only grant one of them.
Mm-hmm.
This Wednesday, Liverpool are in Europa League final.
I'm going tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
If they win,
Yeah.
would you rather they win
Yeah.
or to beat Dean Macy in the next Big Fish Off series?
Take Liverpool win, please.
Really?
Yeah. Because for me, I mean, this is serious. Like, the Big Fish Off as a whole, like, we are very competitive from match to match, yeah? And Thailand was like double or quits, wasn't it, really?
No, that was crazy.
But for me, just the series being a success is a win, you know?
Yeah.
Whether if I lost 5-0 the next series, but the audience went, that was better than the last series, I'd take that on the chin. I really would. Liverpool winning a trophy is much rarer.
Yeah,
So
that doesn't happen every day, does it?
Doesn't happen every day. So yeah, I think the fact that I'm driving to Switzerland, and probably by the time they see this, they'd know what's happened.
It'll be out, yeah.
Yeah. What I would like is a Liverpool win and a Big Fish Off series win.
Well,
Why can't I have both?
well, I can see if I can make something happen.
Good lad.
I might get on the phone to Jurgen Klopp, see if he can.
Give old Jurgen a call. Yeah.
So now we're going to be talking about your masterclass, the new one, Masterclass 3.
Okay.
And you're doing the zig rigs.
Long distance.
Yeah.
I was not zigs. Yeah, long distance. Yeah.
So you were doing the long distance bit, but I can't get that far obviously because I'm only young and my arms aren't that long.
Don't need long arms. I ain't got long arms.
I was tempted not to say anything about that, just
Don't
in
worry.
case.
I'm used to it, you know that.
Yeah, just in case it might offend you, but
No.
take it lightly.
I can't be offended. If you met my mates, you'd know I'm almost unoffendable.
You get slaughtered by Dino, so.
Oh, Dean's humour's is banterless, really. I'm way too sharp to be offended by Dean. It's like he's the athletic one and I'm the clever one. I think everyone knows that. Don't
Yeah, everyone knows. But in the long distance, what tip would you give us for getting it out that bit further?
Very simple. One word. Techers. Technique. Yeah, it's everything, mate. In any style of doing something, technique is the key. And I taught myself by watching really good casters. Had a little bit of coaching after it with Mark Hutchinson, who really is an amazing caster. But yeah, it is 100% technique. That's all it is. It's the body movement, and if you watch Masterclass, it's all in there.
Yeah.
It's about getting weight distribution, leaning back on your back leg, and then stepping into it.
Forward.
Well, stepping forward and pulling with your left. Really, the length of your arms. The longer your arm. If you're a Darryl Peck or a Dean Macy, you've got a longer lever. It's all science and physics. But if you're not and you're short, I mean, some of the great casters are short, like Mark Hutchinson showed me. He's short and squat, but it's power and speed and weight distribution. That's it. Practice and you can nail it. Anyone can do it.
Talking about distance, in the Big Fish Off, when you were at Layer Pit in the boathouse, getting it out that 100 yards fishing with zigs, do you think that the zigs will work at any distance, or do you think in the middle is probably the best place for them?
No, they work wherever the fish are, mate. I mean, I've caught it was just happened at Layer Pit that particular day. We were seeing fish showing at that sort of distance, but I've caught them in the bays on that lake, down 30 yards out, 10 yards out, wherever the fish are, zig will work. That's what it's all about. But you can't put it somewhere they're not and hope to catch.
Yeah, of course.
But if they're cruising around there and they're moving and they're showing, then you've got every chance.
There's a lot of fish in Layer because I fish there myself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's not as many as there used to be. I mean, there used to be a rule sort of in the 90s where you count the fish on top and then add 2,000. That's what a guy called Dick Hamilton, late angler who fished there a lot. That was a famous quote that he had.
Wow,
Yeah.
it just shows because you can see them. It's a strange place because you can see them popping their heads. It's almost like they're dancing.
Jumping and rolling. Yeah, we showed a glimpse of it on the Big Fish Off.
Yeah.
You'll see nothing like, a Layer show. It's unique. I've never been to a lake where they go as mad as that when they go, yeah.
What do you think that is?
I think, funnily enough, part of it is down to poor water quality and the silt in the bottom. I think they're coming up to clear themselves a lot. I don't think it's always down to the fact there's loads in there.
No.
I think they're feeding in so much, put it politely, shit that it's going through their gills and coming up to the top is helping them clear their gills.
Yep.
And also when you've got all that mud, and so when you get the big shows sort of post winter, that's when they're cleaning themselves. So if you ever see them like February, March time, they shuffle along the top.
Yeah.
And that's getting thing like argillus and leech off their bodies. And there's some of the scientific reason for it.
Because it's very silty on the bottom.
It is silty. I mean, they did dredge it a bit, but what used to happen back in the day when I first grew up there, it used to get the good water from the waterworks. Now they put the shit in, and as a result, what's coming through isn't filtered and clean. So you've got all that bait going in, fish shitting, and it's building up basically, and that's it really. That and the nitrate level is going up. So it's not, because carp are really hardy, they can put up with it, but they're having to clean themselves and do various things. That's one reason. I don't think they're having fun.
I don't think they're doing it just for a laugh, jumping up.
No. Otherwise they'd do it on all the lakes all the time, wouldn't
Yeah. But now we're going to move on to the top 5 Carp Dreams killer questions.
Okay.
And this has been said for every interview.
Yeah.
The first one is, if you could give one tip to a young angler, what would it be and why would you say that tip?
Okay. Can I eliminate a few, because everyone always says them, like location.
Yeah.
How many times have you had that? Hook sharpness. Yeah. For me, the holy grail in every form of fishing is the hook bait you use. Fly fishing, pike fishing, carp fishing, match fishing. The hook bait's wrong and they don't want to eat it. All the other stuff after location is pointless. Yeah. So for me, making sure you've got an item of food on the end they really want at that given situation, and they're likely to pick it out ahead of anything else.
So that's a great, we have had location before, but that's a great answer. I wasn't really thinking about that myself.
Yeah.
But the next one is, if you can only have 2 rigs in your tackle box, what would they be and why?
2 rigs, good. I'm glad you've asked 2, because normally people say name your favourite rig. 2 rigs. I would have a good pop-up rig. I think, if I'm being fair, one that's bulletproof for everyone would be the chod rig if you were going to go for a pop-up, and then on the bottom, no doubt about it, just a straight IQD rig on a helicopter setup. You're not beating that.
But what about, what do you say to those people that say, oh, chods are for nods and stuff like that?
I think it's sort of typical of angling. If something's good or bulletproof, it's different. You get bitter people call it out. Who cares what they think? Yeah.
At least you catch carp.
The reason that quote exists, and there is truth in it. Noddy's not a very nice word, but people less experienced, let's say, that cast out and they don't feel the lead down. Well, what was happening for years, these people were fishing with a tangle. They're casting out, they don't stop it before it hits the surface. They're using braid or different hook links, and it's spinning round the leader.
And it's just tangling up.
And they're fishing on the bottom with a tangle. Suddenly, they start using a chod rig that they could cast over their head, not feel it, not stop it, and it would always bounce back up and sit perfect and always be tangle free. Well, if a carp can't get your hook bait in its mouth, you're never catching it. If it can get it in its mouth every time, the law of probability,
it can catch it. Yeah,
has gone up loads. So these people are now suddenly fishing. That's why it took people who were catching next to nothing to heroes overnight. Hence the quote. It's a bulletproof rig that you can cast. You can adjust it. You can, fish at different depths of silt or weed and be presented well.
It's a great answer. In the last one, Alan said that he'd like a freeline rig. What do you say to that?
A freeline rig, I can understand Alan saying that, because the less stuff up the line, the less detection. It's very subtle, and probably because he does all his sort of urban fishing and gets into nooks and crannies. I'm looking at something that's more mainstream, and people are going to be able to fish under the rod tip or 200 yards out. And I think those rigs, tangle proof, can be ejected a lot and taken in again, and they're always presented. So if fish blows it out or it gets fanned about, it goes back and it's fighting again. That's what it's all about, resetting itself.
So the next question is, what is the most important equipment, do you think, and what should they spend the most money on with that?
Right equipment. Yeah, I mean, I had cheap rods and reels for years and years and years. I mean, I think I was like 16, 17 before got my first set of big pits. And even them, back then, they were quite cheap. So for me, I would concentrate on hooks. Make sure you got loads of hooks, so you're not reusing them. A lot of people buy all the best rods and reels and then skimp on the hooks, or buy a pack of 10 and it lasts them ages. You know, I from a very young age, I've been changing my hooks every fish. So whether I was on a pasty lake, and if I didn't, there was always a seed of doubt in my mind that hook's not as sharp as
And
it could have
it's
been.
been bent.
Well, no, you can see that, but when it's gone in and out of a fish's mouth, it's never going to be as sharp as it was before. So yeah, it's about checking them and redoing the rig and having a fresh hook on there.
That's our most said answer.
Yeah.
So far.
Oh, is it? Yeah. It makes sense. There's a pattern there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So now you know, guys, get a good packet of hooks.
Yeah, just stock up on them. You know, don't skimp on that. Don't go and buy the best rods and reels and then like have one pack of hooks rattling around in your box. You know, that they're vital. It's after the hook bait.
Yeah.
It's the thing that keeps them on. Yeah.
So the next one is, as a young fisherman, we're normally at school, whether primary school, secondary school, and after school we've always got homework or some stuff to sort out. So it means that we only get the chance to fish on the weekends or the summer holidays, and they're normally the highest pressured times. How would you approach a water that's so high pressured like that?
Well, first of all, I'd say make sure you do your homework and get your education, because you can always do your midweek fishing and all that when you're older. I know at the moment it will feel like, oh wow, I wish I could do that. But let me tell you now, no parent grows up wanting their kid to go fishing all the time.
No.
Yeah, they want them to have a good life, money in the bank, and fishing to be a hobby, a good one, an escape from normality, if you like.
Yeah.
So going back to your question, what would you do? I mean, that's all I ever did when I fished at weekends. It's just normal. I mean, if you can get on fish, but don't forget, you don't always have to fish to improve either. You know, by seeing other anglers, being down the water, observing fish, all of that sort of stuff, it's possible. You know, I used to, even though I had my homework, some days, and certainly when it got to this time of year, springtime, when you're still at school but the days are longer, I'd maybe come home after work, I'd bike down to the pits, I'd have a look around, climb some trees, feed some fish, get back, have my dinner, do my own work, learnt a bit, done a bit of homework. Everyone's a winner, aren't they?
Everyone's happy in the end.
Yeah. A good spread of it. But I think the most important thing as a kid growing up is not to become frustrated that you can't go fishing all the time. No. That's all to come, because the reality is, if you don't do well at school, get yourself an education, then you're going to be on the sort of breadline as you get older, unless you get lucky. And when I say education, I don't mean necessarily going to uni, but a trade or something that's going to put you financially in good stead in the future. Then you can do all the fishing you want when you get older. I was never one for having a year out, and I went school, college, uni, and my plan was that if the quicker I start earning good money, the more I can enjoy myself. I can have nice cars and live in a nice house and
nice rods, nice reels,
just whatever. Yeah. I mean, in that situation, because I did well in that industry, it's meant that I get given the rods and reels I want. You know, but I didn't get there because I went fishing. I got there because I got an education in marketing and then television, and developed a trade that was attractive to a fishing company.
And that's what they needed at that time.
Same as it'd be attractive to a financial sector. The fact, you know, my CV I could take to any industry and it would stand up on its own 2 feet and be highly respected. You know, 16 years of market and everything else. It's not just I went fishing and I liked it, so I went and worked for a fishing company. It's what a lot of kids think. They're like, I like fishing, can I have a job? I'm like, no, mate, go and get an education, a trade in something that's an attractive commodity to any business. You know, not just I like fishing.
Yeah, I can see why that is, because if you have someone who's not great at English, maths, but they enjoy fishing, join you, they get something wrong, and then the company goes on its knees.
Yeah, it's not so much that you want they just wouldn't get a job in the first place. I have kids write to me all the time. They're like, oh, I've gone to Spa Shoal to do a fit, like a, it's a fishery management course. The problem is, what's happened is they've gone to college, they've loved fishing so much that they thought any course with a title with fishing in it is good for them. They haven't thought there's absolutely no need for it. And someone asked me, he's like, oh, can I come and have work experience in mine? I'm doing a fishery management course at Spa Shoal. I was like,
what's that got to do with Corder tackle?
Yeah, but they've in their own brain, they've thought that we're looking for that. No, if they'd said, I've gone and done an IT support, or I've gone and developed in IT or accounts, or I've gone and done economics, or gone and done, they're the disciplines that are attractive to a business, not fishery management. Yeah, maybe embryo that we've got that's set up for conservation of carp. But this kid had an interest in marketing and media. He's gone and basically wasted the end of his thing going doing that, you know.
Yeah.
And now he needs to really take stock and do. You should go and do what's going to get your career in something, not just for the sake of it. I see loads of kids do that. Go and do a degree in something they've got absolutely no interest in, or they have an interest in, but it's going to serve no purpose afterwards, apart from show a company that they've got a willingness to learn.
So my last and final question is the viewer's favourite.
Yeah.
And it's something that normally the people that I'm interviewing always enjoy. What's the weirdest bait you've ever caught a fish on?
Weirdest bait I've ever caught a fish on? Good question. I think. What do you mean, lake fish or sea fish or? Whatever. I'm trying to think here. I've used all sorts really. So obviously, like the sweets from I once ran out when I was a kid, and I used the penny sweets in my bag. Oh, you've probably had that before, haven't you? People caught them on like milk bottles. We've had jelly cubes. Yeah. Jelly cubes, and we've had jelly babies. Yeah. The other thing, elderberries hanging on the bushes. I once run out and I used one of them on a hair rig, and I fished it under the bush. They were they were hanging, and I caught a carp on one of them. Oh, that's mental. So natural berry would be pretty cool. Sound like Bear Grylls, don't I? Using foraging for bait.
Next will be snakes and...
Snake's heads?
Yeah.
Snake heads, I reckon that would work.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Absolute brilliant. You'll probably be taking my job in the near future, so you got a hard, firm handshake. Well done. Very good interview. Well done.
Thank you. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Bailey here from Carp Dreams, joined by Ali Hamidi.
Hey guys, so that's the end of our amazing trip. I've had a wonderful day down in London. I got to see the new series, sneak peeks of the new series that Ali Hamidi's voiceovering. That was so funny, especially when he mucked it up and then did it right the second time. But also I thought it was a great interview, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe. See you next time on Carp Dreams.